Bears are too big and too deadly to choose their prey carefully, or at least that's what they think. That way of thinking makes them act recklessly, and as a result of that, they end up getting their butts kicked sometimes, which is exactly what we're about to see today. A lion and a bear ran into one another in the woods here, and they didn't waste a second before attacking one another. The lion was wailing on the bear, throwing punches like it was Muhammad Ali. The bear never stood a chance, and it realized too late that it was way out of its league. It had made a big mistake thinking it could tangle with the king of the jungle, so it did the only thing it could. It ran out of there as fast as its legs could carry it. This bear got a little too big for its britches and decided to mess with a cougar. The bear thought that it could just waltz up and chase the big cat away, but boy was it wrong. The cougar went absolutely crazy, attacking the bear with everything it had, focusing mostly on the bear's head. This whole fiasco taught the bear a lesson it wouldn't forget anytime soon. Just because you're big and heavy doesn't mean you can push everyone around. Jumbo McFuzzy here suddenly found itself in the middle of a canine flash mob. Yep, a whole pack of them had surrounded it, and they were coming in from all sides. They were on a mission to give the bear the boot, and they were extra persistent. Poor bear was losing its marbles, spinning around like a hairy ballerina trying to keep up with this doggy merry-go-round. The bear kept running and running, probably wishing it had taken that cardio class more seriously. Meanwhile, the dogs were having the time of their lives, playing the world's wildest game of tag. The bear was so freaked out, and it was probably considering a career change to a circus act. Talk about a rough day in the woods. While taking a stroll through the forest, this bear suddenly ran into a leopard that was lying in wait. The bear froze in its tracks, but it tried to act tough and did its best to scare off the leopard. It stood up tall and let out a growl, but let's be real, the bear was shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. It was all bark and no bite. It couldn't do much other than that little show. Its knees were probably knocking together like a pair of castanets. After a few tense moments, the bear decided discretion was the better part of valor. It got out of there thinking it was better to be a chicken than a hero. A mountain lion had cornered a terrified bear on a tree log and was advancing towards it here. The bear was scared out of its mind, and it kept backing away until it reached the end of the log. The log could hold weight, but it wasn't ready for bear-sized company. It snapped like a twig at a weight loss camp, and down went the bear, tumbling through the air. It probably had just enough time to think, "Well, that was dumb," before it landed right in the river below. There was a leopard and a bear that were both trying to out-sneak one another here. They both crept towards each other, probably thinking they were real smooth. The bear decided to play tough guy and tried to scare the leopard by acting all big and bad. The big cat wasn't impressed though, not even a little. It just stood there staring at the bear like, "Is that all you got?" And then it attacked. The bear was like, "Whoa, time out!" And it did a 180 faster than you can say, "Picnic basket," and ran out of there. Sloth bears keep getting their butts kicked by big cats, and this bear happened to be one of them. It was attacked by a truly vicious and fearless leopard after it had wandered into the big cat's territory, and the leopard wasn't holding back one bit. The fight was absolutely brutal, and as expected, the bear ended up running away with the leopard chasing after it. Finding itself completely surrounded by a pack of wolves that were dead set on taking it down, this bear had no choice but to fight back, but the wolves were just too much for it to handle. It fought back as best as it could and tried to remind the wolves of what it was capable of, but the wolves simply didn't care. They kept attacking as much as they could and from every direction that they could until the bear was completely exhausted and ended up falling to the ground. They completely wore it out, and it was now completely at their mercy. It only took 2 wolves to chase this bear out of its own territory. The wolves were all gung-ho, and they came at the bear with teeth bared and jaws ready to rip some flesh off. The bear tried to stand its ground and challenge the wolves for a second, but it quickly realized that it was fooling itself. The wolves weren't interested in taking the bear down. They only wanted its territory, and they did manage to scare it off pretty good. The bear left feeling defeated and humiliated, probably telling itself, "I didn't want to hang out in this dumb field anyway." Being in the wrong place at the wrong time will get you your butt handed to you no matter how big and scary you may think you are. These wolves weren't messing around. They started circling this grizzly as soon as they caught a glimpse of it. They launched their attack in an organized and brutal manner, biting the poor bear all over its blind spots. It was like a game of pin the tail on the donkey, except the bear was the donkey and the wolves were using their teeth instead of pins. The bear was vastly outnumbered, but it took this genius a long time to finally decide that it had had enough of this canine rodeo. In the end, the bear escaped, leaving behind a bunch of disappointed wolves. Guess they had to settle for takeout that night instead of fresh bear burgers. A bear wandered a bit too close to some wolf pups here, and the wolf parents went absolutely crazy, like soccer moms at a championship game. They came rushing in from all directions, surrounding the bear faster than you can say stranger danger. They started harassing the bear, darting in and out, biting at its heels. It was like a wildlife version of dodgeball, and the bear was losing. The bear tried to fight back, swinging its paws around like a drunk boxer. But the wolves were determined to teach it a lesson about respecting personal space. In the end, the wolves won the day. They managed to chase the bear off, sending it running for the hills. The bear probably went home thinking, note to self, wolf daycare, not a good shortcut. So get this bear was stalking a huge moose and its 2 calves, and the mom came charging at it like a frickin' missile. The mom was all fired up, ready to kick some serious bear butt to protect its little calves. Can you believe it? A moose taking on a fully grown bear? That's some next level mom energy right there. The bear, being no dummy, took one look at this moosezilla and decided to head back home and fast until next summer. I guess even big bad bears know better than to mess with a mother trying to protect its kids. Check this one out. A wolf came charging at this baby moose when it spotted it chilling next to its mother. The wolf was sneaky, but the alert mom sensed it coming from a mile away. Its reaction wasn't the most calculated though, as it kicked back with her powerful hooves without looking, and it accidentally punt-kicked its own baby, which immediately knocked it to the ground. That did scare the wolf into running away though, as it took one look at that kick and suddenly remembered that it had just eaten. Smart move, because a kick like that could have given it an instant brain injury. This bear saw a moose and instantly charged at it. The moose was in the river, but the bear didn't care. The moose was struggling in the water, moving about as gracefully as a drunk elephant on roller skates. The bear hopped on that moose's back like it was riding a bronco, and it started biting away as if the moose was just gonna sit there and take it. It didn't. The battle between the two was even more intense and brutal than battles between bears are, and it didn't look like the bear was gonna get out of there without any injuries, even if it did win the fight. Feeling adventurous, this bear decided to play hop the fence into some dog's turf. Big mistake. The dogs were like, "What's this foolish intruder doing in our yard?" And they ganged up on it in order to protect one another. It seemed like the bear was going to kill and eat one of them at the start, but the rest of the dogs attacked it like it owed them money, and the bear turned out to be a better runner than a fighter. It made a beeline for the forest, and it was never seen in that area again. There was a bear that somehow ended up in someone's backyard here. The bear had spotted a lantern hanging and decided, hey, that looks fun to smash. It knocked the lantern to the ground, but that alerted the homeowner's guard dog, and out of nowhere, the dog came charging in like a kamikaze. As soon as the dog slammed into the bear realized that it had bit off more than it could chew, and it ran like the wind to get away from the aggressive canine. This guy decided to brave the winter wonderland outside to do some chores, but as soon as he stepped out, he was spotted by a moose, and the huge animal came closer. The man got scared, and instead of trying to go back into his house, he decided to hide from the moose until it was gone. Smart choice, because no one knows what that moose would have done to him. After scoring itself a tasty meal and going to town on it, this bear decided to save the rest for later and hide what was left of the kill. It tossed some dirt and leaves on it, thinking that it was being real slick. But a moment later, a huge Siberian tiger showed up and instantly caught a whiff of it. It stood there for a hot minute, eyeballing the area like it was casing a joint, making sure it wasn't walking into some kind of ambush. Once it was sure the coast was clear, the tiger grabbed the bear's meal and split, dragging the half-eaten free dinner to its own private dining spot. After it spotted a tiger and decided to play tough guy, this bear got up on its hind legs to try and look all big and scary. It was like, check me out, I'm the baddest badass in this town. The tiger didn't take it seriously at all though, and instead of running for the hills like the bear expected, this cool cat just plopped down right in front of the bear. It stretched out like it was at a day spa, basically telling the bear, dude, you don't scare me one bit. The bear's jaw probably hit the forest floor. It was all shocked like, wait, that's not how this is supposed to go? Totally thrown off its game. The bear started backing up, probably thinking, well, this is awkward. The bear shuffled away, its ego bruised worse than a week-old banana. A cougar tried to take a rest between the green trees here, but as it was trying to mind its own business, a bear popped out from behind the trees, and it had to get up and run for its life. It probably could have taken the bear if it stood its ground and fought, but I guess it was only in the mood for chillin'. I bet you've never seen a bear jump on a trampoline before, and I haven't either. But this is a clip of exactly that. This bear fell from a tall tree, and the locals had left the trampoline for it on the ground to fall into, and it did. I don't know why, but I find this clip fascinating. I don't know whether to call this dog brave or a fool, but it spotted a huge bear by the side of the road and decided to pick a fight with it instead of trying to run away. And the surprising thing? It was actually able to intimidate the huge beast pretty easily, and it backed off like the dog ordered it to. So there was this bear, just strolling along, when it spotted a moose nearby. Now, you'd think the bear would be all tough and ready to rumble, right? Wrong. The bear took one look at the moose and thought, nope, not today. It kept its distance, eyeing those massive antlers on the moose and having no desire to mess with that walking coat rack. It probably remembered hearing stories about bears that tried to tangle with moose and ended up looking like Swiss cheese. No, sir, this bear wasn't looking to be the next cautionary tale at the forest gossip circle. So it just kept on walking, pretending like it didn't even see the moose. Baby bears act just as viciously and ruthlessly as the adult ones whenever they get the chance. This one stumbled upon a baby moose and decided to feast on it, and it looked like the poor little moose was about to face a horrific death. But luckily for the terrified little one, Mom was just around the corner, and it showed up and was like, "Not on my watch, buddy." It charged in, aiming to take vengeance on the little monster, and even though the bear was able to drag the baby moose and run with it at first, the mom caught up to it pretty fast, and it had no choice but to let the baby go if it wanted to get out of there in one piece. Some guy was sitting in his car when a bear came chasing after a moose here. He whipped out his phone faster than you can say viral video and started filming. Right in the middle of some campground, the moose ran, and the bear ran after it. But the sad part about this clip is that it ended without a conclusion. Just be careful when you go camping in the woods next time. Might get run over by one of those things. I have no idea what these two bears were fighting over, but they sure were giving it their all. They attacked one another mindlessly, aiming to inflict as much damage as they could and not caring about the consequences or what happens to him. They must have really hated one another. Some genius planted a sneaky little camera in the woods here, and they were lucky enough to capture this intense scene. Two bears had run into one another while searching for food, and without even thinking about it, they attacked one another. It's just what they do. The fight was truly intense, but luckily for both of them, they both didn't want to get hurt and decided to stop. Two male bears were fighting when a third decided to join the battle here. That third one was a real beast, and it clearly had the upper hand. The bear didn't just use its claws and teeth, it was also actively trying to drown the other bear to death. They fought for what seemed like eternity, but neither of them ended up winning. They both just got really badly messed up. These two mountains were just as stubborn as any other bear, and why wouldn't they be? Neither of them looks like they were used to losing or not getting their way. They fought like there was no tomorrow, and if they did continue like that, there probably wasn't for at least one of them, if not both. I wonder what it would look like if one of these giants got into a fight with an elephant. What do you guys think the result would be? This time, the fight was clearly over territory. One of the bears wasn't looking for a fight, but the other was eagerly looking for one, and the result was a vicious battle. The bear lunged at the troublemaker, biting down on its neck to try and finish it quickly. They both barely, pun intended, made it out of there in the end, and I really hope they learned something from that. Did you enjoy this video? Please let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. And please, turn on your notifications bell to get notified when we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.